Hey guys, it's me again. I'm back with the 2002 Ford Focus that I picked up for $450 approximately 2 days ago. This car originally had been on fire, and the lady did not tell me about it, and then when I attempted to drive it home, it caught on fire again. That's when I realized that it had been on fire to begin with. A lot of work's gone into it. After finally getting it home, I realized it had a bad transmission solenoid, Solonoid A, which is a common failure part on this car. That solenoid has been replaced today along with the pan gasket and the transmission filter. There's the old transmission fluid. Really, the fluid didn't look bad. There was no real metal to speak of in the pan, so the transmission's fine. Solenoid's been replaced. Transmission shifts perfectly now. Engine's back together after replacing all the parts that had burned up. As you can see on that exhaust manifold there's some remnants of the fire. Valve cover's been replaced. Crank angle sensor was melted, that's been replaced. The thermostat housing was melted, that's been replaced. Got some temporary plug wires in here. I had one that was completely dead, and these are actually off of a 97 BMW 750 IL with the 5.4 liter V12. Oddly enough, they work. I'll replace them with factory ones at some point. It's all back together with the exception of the heat shield on the exhaust and a couple little brackets here and there, nothing major. The problem I'm having is that it's idling rough, but as soon as you hit the gas, give it a little bit of gas, she clears right up. And I mean, I've had it up at 50-60 miles an hour and runs absolutely great, just idling like crap. No check engine lights, no codes. Get a better shot of it there. That's the $450 02 Focus ZX5. Now what I did notice is that the exhaust pipe I'm sure by now everybody knows what that means. Definite sign of a leaking head gasket. There's no water in the oil, so the oil's not contaminated. There's no oil in the coolant. So I think it's got a very, very slightly leaking head gasket. It's not too bad. It's only seeming to affect it at an idle. Like I said, as soon as you hit the gas to take off, she runs great. Drives perfectly smooth. So what I did, being that I'm a mechanic and I do this stuff all the time, you know, for $450, it's not a bad deal. I've probably got another $70 or so into it in parts right now. But I've got a bunch of Blue Devil. I've actually got 5 quarts of Blue Devil sitting around that I haven't been using. And, you know, I don't want to put too much money into this car. And the head gasket's not that bad, so I'm pretty sure that this should seal it up. It says to use half of a bottle for 3 gallons. And this system actually only holds a gallon and a half. I went ahead and used half a bottle anyway, and I should have used a quarter, so I gave it a little bit extra. And it's been sitting here idling for maybe 10 minutes or so. The bottle says to run it for about 50 minutes, close to an hour. That's not what I do. I typically let it run for about 3 hours. I want to make sure it gets done and that it doesn't have problems later on. So instead of the recommended 50 minutes on the bottle, I let it run for about 3 hours. You know, I'll go run some errands or whatever, leave it sitting here running. And then after the 3 hours, I shut it off and let it sit for 24 hours before you even attempt to start it back up again. But typically within the first hour to 2 hours, you'll notice that the idle will smooth out, and that water spitting out of the tailpipe will clear up dramatically. It probably will be completely gone within the first hour. You can see a little bit of steam coming out of there also. I will update this video or post another video. I'll figure that out later with some results on whether this worked or not for this Ford Focus. The mileage is 145,000, and looking in the glove box, I found some recent receipts from about December. So, about 6 months ago, where it had overheated, and she took it to a shop and had a water pump replaced and the thermostat replaced. So apparently it had overheated to the point where it shut off on her and died and was having trouble running. So I'm pretty certain that this is a head gasket issue. So thanks for watching. I'll update more later.